here's the problem. When you need to bind off the same number of stitches on both sides, it's very easy. You bind off 8 stitches here, but then over on this side, if you bind off 8 stitches as well, your tail will be here, but it needs to be in the center. As a result, you always turn around and bind off on the wrong side before you continue knitting. The problem, then these edges here won't be level. As you can see, this edge here sits one row below this edge. So in this tutorial, I want to show you a very smart technique you can employ to achieve edges that are perfectly symmetrical and on the very same level. Let's dive right into it. To start, I am stopping, in this case, 8 stitches before the end of my row. And then you need to create a little loop. So you need to create a little loop like so. So here, this is the working yarn, and then you have a loop like this. And this loop here can be quite sizable because you need it as a reservoir to continue knitting. And then with this loop here, you pick up the working yarn like so. So there is this little tail here coming out of between your working yarn and your work. And with the next stitch, you trap it. So you have this little loop here, see? And you need to knit this stitch here quite loosely. And then for the next stitch, you need to find this loop here. Here, this is the loop. You need to bring it up, and then you need to knit below this loop. See what I'm doing? And then you bring it down again and knit 1 stitch. And essentially, you are trapping little floats here on the back side. And it's important that you knit these stitches here quite loosely. Then, bring the loop up again, knit 1 stitch, bring it down, knit another stitch. Knit quite loosely. Bring it up again, like so. Knit 1 stitch, bring it down, and then one last time, knit below the loop. If you turn things around, then you should have a big loop here on this end, and your tail is right, or your working yarn is right there. And then you can simply, but do so carefully, simply pull on your working yarn, and then this loop here will vanish. Now, don't let your work pucker, massage things out. And then we can bind off these stitches. To bind off, you simply stay here on the wrong side, and then you slip 2 stitches and pass 1 over. Then you slip another stitch and pass over. So it's just like a regular bind off, but without knitting any stitches. Of course, we knitted these stitches in the previous row already. So now we can just pass them over one at a time, just like a regular bind off. And then here, when you come to the place where your working yarn is still attached, you pick that up. And now you can actually decide. You can pass this stitch over as well, or you purl it and pass over. I personally feel that if you purl it, the transition is a little bit smoother, but try it out. Both are valid methods and both are entirely doable. And that's how you bind off over on this side. So this will be the result on the right side. So here you can, if you follow this line of stitches, you can clearly see how they are on the very same level. So there is no step. This side here isn't one row higher than this side. So it's a very, very smart trick whenever you need to bind off symmetrically on both sides and you don't want this weird little step. Anyway, comment below if you still have any questions, and as always, happy knitting and enjoy the rest of your day.